Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Um, what I would like to talk about today is acceptance. And it's deeper than um accepting other people and other situations that's around you. It's about accepting things, feelings, truths inside yourself. And when you start to accept the things that is within you, it's like a door opens, right? It's a door. It gives you a bit more freedom compared to when you don't want to accept certain truths or realities or situations. Your feelings that are attached to the things that you choose not to accept is what's holding you back. So over the weekend, 9/11 to be exact, I was going throughout my day, just doing my household chores or whatever. And I happened to get a text message from a family member. And in this message, it was a request, a favor asked of me. And I said, okay, no problem, after working through details of what the request was. So I went throughout my day. Towards the end of the day, like I always do, I start to reflect on what it is that happened in my day, what transpired. I do this because I feel that when you go over the events of your day, you might have overlooked something you didn't notice, but your mind picked it up. So you rewind the tape in your mind and you just go through certain things and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Let me go talk to this person about that, or let me go do this right now before I forget, or I didn't see it that way. And you can kind of just reset yourself to regain balance. This is especially good right before you go to bed because it gives you peace and you're able to sleep better, especially if you know how to meditate or relax your mind, to prepare to let your body rest completely, right? So anyway, I'm reflecting and I go over the details of that text message, the timing, the responses, the requests being made, and I looked all of this up and I got validation that led me to accept a lot of things that I was holding on to. I'm getting goosebumps now, but I tell you that the feeling that came over me was intense. It was intense and it felt like love and it felt like acceptance and it felt like nothing else matters, in a sense that it doesn't have dominion over my emotions any longer. I can't explain it, you guys. I can't I try to over the past couple of days. I tried to. It just is not explainable. It's a feeling. Those of you who knows. I can only say it's similar to those who actually experience the Holy Ghost when you go to church. Um Maybe you start speaking in tongues or something like that. um those feelings are real. It's a sense of connecting with the higher source. And I felt like I did that. I felt like I did that. I let go of anger and I let go of fear. I was so fearful, you guys. Like, my number one fear besides drowning is failing. I do not want to fail. I don't want to fail in life. I don't want to fail in being a mom. I don't want to fail in any business ventures, which held me back tremendously because I have so many ideas and I'm capable and talented of doing so many things with my time and my resources to excel me financially, and I've been holding myself back. So I'm no longer afraid, um I'm no longer angry. And I've been angry for so long. Like, I was angry at the fact that I didn't have a dad growing up. And then when my dad came into my life, it was not what I expected. Um, I was angry that, due to family problems and issues, my only sibling, my little brother that I had known at that time, did not like me, y'all. And I used to break my heart. It used to break my heart. Our relationship is good now, but I didn't think it would ever get to that point. And I'm glad that me and my brother is very close. I love him to death. Um, I used to be angry at the fact that I have these burn scars because my insecurities stopped me from wearing certain kind of clothing. Not provocative. I'm not like that at all. Like, I'm very conservative person. That's how I dress, conservatively. I don't dress provocative. I don't like to show a bunch of skin. Even if I didn't have these scars or whatever. But it did stop me from wearing like shorts and short sleeve shirts during the summertime. I used to be hot. Oh my God. And I had a sweating problem when I was a teenager. It was horrible. It was horrible and embarrassing and uncomfortable, and it just made me go back into my head and my mind like, oh, I hate myself, I'm ugly, I gotta, live like this for the rest of my life, or because I care too much about what other people thought of me and how they see me, and that made me angry. I was angry that I didn't do the things that I wanted to do after I graduated high school. I wanted to actually go to college. um I wanted to experience that. I wanted to be able to experience life through a different lens and not the same ones that I've been looking at life through already. But poor decision making led me down a path that um I had to endure. And nothing happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer of that. Nothing happens for a reason. So just going down the path that I went down let me hear and able to talk to you guys. I was angry at, I used to get stole from a lot, and that made me mad. It made me, um, it made me blame my father because even as a younger kid, I felt like karma is real. What you put out there, you get back. And that's nothing more than balancing the energies that's floating around all the time. What you put out there, you're gonna get back one way or another. That's what I believe to this day. Um, I was angry at people and their behaviors. And how that made me feel. Or rather how I felt due to people's behaviors. I'll put it that way, because nobody makes you feel anything. You feel that on your own based off perception. um yeah, based off perception. You got to be mature enough to understand that and know that can't nobody make you feel some type of way. It's how you feel due to how someone else is acting, or something that was said or done is how you perceive it and what it meant to you. Doesn't mean that person intentionally tried to make you feel, whatever kind of way. They're just doing what they do, and being their self. So once we get out that training, oh, you made me mad, you made me sad, you disappoint me, and get more into your actions were not pleasing And because of that, I feel, something like that. I was angry. I said I was angry around about people's behavior. I was definitely angry when I was sexually violated. Like, really. I was angry behind disappointments and the people who were always adults in my life, who weren't performing to the standards that I guess I placed on them as who they were supposed to be. I was angry that my my grandmothers, I never had a relationship with neither one of my grandfathers, but my grandmothers, they passed away. I was angry at that, and it made me sad because I was so angry. I was angry at the fact that, my relationship with my two older children weren't exactly what I thought they would be at this point in time. Well, then it wasn't, for a few years now. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. I was just angry about a lot of different things. My life just isn't what I wanted it to be ever since I was a kid. I'm like, I want my life to be this way. I want my life to be that way. But truly, do you really know what you want your life to be? You have to be able to grow up and experience certain things. You want your life to be something based off of how you're growing up. Does that make sense? You grow up in a household where you have a lack of something, so therefore you want to grow up and have more of an abundance in that area. Or your life may seem perfect or great, so therefore you want to emulate it, right? So in your mind, you're saying, I want my life to be, instead of just living. How about my dreams or my aspirations is to figure out my talents and the contributions I can add to the world? That's purpose. I want to go out there and I want to explore and experience and then come back well-rounded to say, okay, this is how I want my life to be. That is more accurate. I think people would be more happy if they did that. Because I want to grow up to be a doctor. Why? Because I want to help people. These is things that we learn as children from watching certain things like media, your parents, any other influences, the teachers or whatever. These are things that you learn growing up. I love animals, so I'm going to be a veterinarian. I want to make sure everybody get treated fair. So what do I want to be? A police officer or a lawyer or a judge, right? I want to, be a mommy. Y'all, break for a second. I never, ever, 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 and I'm not, when I say this, y'all, please don't get offended. Please don't get offended. But I never respected a woman who said, when I grow up, I want to be a mother. I would look at them like, what? I remember when I was in junior high school, I was in the 6th grade, and I went to this mentorship program over in the MetLife building called Project Live or Project Live. I never knew how they wanted us to pronounce that. But we were standing around in a circle, and we was doing like these exercises to get to know everybody or what have you. And I was standing with my mentor, Miss Bryn Johnson, at that time. That was, Miss Bryn Johnson. I'm still friends with her today. She's an amazing woman. And I thank you if you're watching. I thank you for the influence that you did have on my life. But this this fellow student of mine, a little girl like myself, she said, well, when I grow up, I want to be a mommy. I was like, what? And my mentor kind of was like, Letitia, stop. I was like, that's crazy. Why would you want to grow up to be him? That's given. I mean, if you want to have kids, you want to have kids, but that's all you want to do in your life is be a mommy. You don't want to work. You don't want to go see the world. You don't want to have a career. You don't want to do nothing else but have a baby, have babies, and be a mommy. I'm like, okay, well, I know now that it was probably because that's what she seen her mother do. All her mother was a mommy. She probably thought her mother was the best mommy in the world. Her mom made her feel good, give her all the love that she needs. So she's like, wow, that's amazing. That's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a good mommy, not anything else, because she didn't know any better. You know, she didn't know that there's other options out there to become whatever you want, you know. So, I respect women who's like, I don't want to work. I just want to raise my children because that's the most important thing to me. I don't want to work. And if they don't have to because their husband take care of that to me, that's like clear defined roles right there. That's like, okay, well, the mom is going to take home. She's going to nurture and raise up the children and take care of the household. And she knows her place to be just that. And then the husband or the man of the house, he's just going to work, bring home the financials, and make sure that he provides protection in the home so that his family can be raised and grow in peace. And that's his role. You understand? I really don't know or see how that fits into today's society for most of the part. But there are communities and certain cultural groups who have just that, where the woman does this and the man does that. But coming from an urban area, and we were considered urban youth, for her to say that, it just it blew my mind, you know. And I was only 11 at that time. But going back to acceptance, right? I learned to let go of the anger. I learned to let go of the anger. And I then got this feeling that came over me. It was like goosebumps, but it was radiating differently. It was like a vibrational shower that just poured over my body. And all I can do is smile. All I can do is smile and embrace it and let the feeling come. And it stayed for a very, very long time. It stayed. Now, I'm not going to go into details on what got me to that point, because then I have to go into angel numbers and then thoughts in my head and stuff, and I don't want to make a long video. But trust in your faith. That's key. I told you that before. Trust in your faith. God makes no mistakes. The universe is what your universe is going to be. So I put out good intentions. I'm finally walking the path. My purpose is to help. Is spiritually based. It's being fueled by my ability to let go and let God. And the only time I had a similar experience was some years ago, maybe like 3-4 years ago, when I was living in Pennsylvania, and my world got turned upside down by some news that was shared with me, and I was not taking that well. I had a breakdown. I was like, the anger that I was holding inside all my life, it was coming out. And at that time, I already knew I had anger issues. I was honest with myself about that. I had anger issues. I used to throw things and kick things, put holes in walls and doors and stuff like that. Don't matter the reason why. The fact of the matter is that I did not hold myself accountable for saying these feelings that I feel is not anybody else's fault. I only feel this way because I was disappointed and I held a certain level of standard to people and situations. And therefore, I allowed myself to lose control and let my anger be displayed in a way that was very violent, in a sense that I had to damage things. I didn't necessarily want it to hurt people, but I needed to break some stuff. And that's what I was doing. I was breaking stuff. I had to stop because it was starting to cost money. And people out there who's watching, if y'all have anger issues, y'all already know being angry and you not trying to hurt nobody will cost you money, because you're hurting yourself by damaging your property, or maybe you damaging somebody else's property. It costs you money because you have to repair those things or replace those things. So I stopped doing that. But this particular evening, living in Pennsylvania, my world was turned upside down, and I couldn't take it. I did not know how to handle that. I did not. So I broke my door down. Y'all, I kicked the mess out of it. It was huge hole, like the size of a car door. I just kicked it in. I warned people not to come near me. I was just losing control, and if I could take it back, I would, because my kids were scared. They didn't know what was going on. They just knew mommy was going crazy. Like, literally, I was going crazy. And it wasn't the best example to give to them. This is how you handle bad news or situations. Anyway, moving forward into the story, I'm standing there, I'm talking out loud to the universe, to God, to my grandmothers, anybody who can hear me, that it was not earthbound. And I was like, why is this happening to me? I'm tired of the bad stuff. What did I do so wrong that I keep getting the short end of the stick? I'm a good person. I don't go around. I don't try to hurt anybody. Why does this stuff keep happening to me? I was very angry. And it made me question my faith. It made me question everything. It made me question it. And I was at a real low point. And all I saw was red. All I saw was red. And I'm like, in my mind, in the midst of me just speaking out loud and trying to figure out what I'm going to do, what I'm going to break, me being angry, what am I doing? What's going on? I'm thinking, please help me. I just needed help. And sure enough, when you ask, man, and you are receptive, meaning you open yourself to receive, you get your answers. So I'm standing there and I stop. And this feeling of warmth and calmness and love put me in shock. So much so that at that time I thought, okay, is this my grandmother coming through and she's giving me a hug because I so desperately needed her. I so desperately needed her. And I just needed security. I needed to feel like somebody had me. And this feeling that came over me, it felt like love. It felt good. And I was just standing there and I was holding myself. And I was like pacifying myself, because I felt like something had me. Something had me. And I appreciated that. Like, I calmed down. And I didn't feel alone anymore. And I just knew I needed to find myself. I knew I needed to find myself because I felt lost. So this is why it's important to give yourself time to work through some stuff and then forgive yourself and forgive others, so that you are able to go through this process to get you to a point where you're happy within. And I tried, but I didn't allow myself because I was still stuck in my mind of bad habits from what was taught to me growing up, whether directly or indirectly, of how to keep the bad stuff around. And as hard as it is to stop a habit or to let go of a situation or to move on from a person, as hard as it is, you should do it anyway when you know that your spirit is crying out for a change. Because the longer that it takes for you to do that, the longer you're going to sit there in the same misery. So therefore, you're not validated and asking for change and expecting it. You have to make a change within yourself to get a change from outside of yourself. So it may be hard, but if you have an anchor somewhere outside of yourself to say, I'm going to keep pulling myself forward, keep pushing myself forward, then you do that. It may be church. It may be a best friend. It may be something. But when you ask and you make yourself receptive, you will receive what you're asking for. And be careful what you're asking for, because when you want it enough and you put it out there, it comes back. So I forgot. I never forgot. I never forgot that feeling in Pennsylvania. I remembered on 9/11. I remember it. And no, it did not have anything to do with the events that happened that day in New York. It had nothing to do with that. But just everything to do with what I'm doing right now. And I got it. I actually got it. Like when this feeling came on again, everything started clicking. Click, 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 click. Like everything started clicking. All of the work that I've been doing on myself. And this is just the beginning of my journey. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. You understand? So it felt amazing. I acknowledged. That's how I started out in the beginning of my journey. I had to acknowledge a lot of stuff about myself, a lot of stuff about other people, a lot of stuff about situations. And it was then that I was able to move on and start accepting things, seeing things differently, because sometimes you have to rebuild, reconstruct your perception of a situation, because what you see it to be, it's not how other people see it to be. And that allowed me to forgive. It allowed me to forgive the people who I was angry with, and it allowed me to forgive my, I'm gonna call it ignorance, because I just didn't know. And now that I do, I could say I was wrong. And that frees me from each shackle that held me back and this negative me. You understand? So when I step forward, and when I do now, I do with purpose. I step with purpose. I speak with purpose. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. I just, I can't explain it, y'all. I can't. So that same night, I was on the phone and I was having a conversation with someone, and I realized that the things that were being said that would usually jumpstart my battery towards defensiveness, towards anger, resentment, and all that other stuff. Like, I realized that I wasn't angry. I wasn't feeling animosity. I wasn't feeling like I wanted to argue. I was just able to speak my mind And let that be that. And even though I was accused of being sarcastic or in my feelings or what have you, I truly didn't feel no sort of way. And that's growth. That is growth, because any other day you say something to me that I know is not true. I know in my mind I knew what it was, quote unquote. It would piss me off because I was searching for validation. I was searching for, you was right, Tisha. I was searching for just accept what I say and that's it. I can honestly say that, when I'm talking to people who's argumentative with me, I'm like, listen, I'm right. I don't do things to be wrong. And, it was a piece of work. I don't claim to have been perfect before. I don't even claim to be perfect now. I'm a work in progress. I am a work in progress. But as much as I kept telling myself and other people, oh, I hate negativity, I don't like to argue, I don't like to do this, but I would eventually participate in an argument because I felt like I was being bullied. Not necessarily mean that I was with certain people. It just means that that's how I felt. I felt defensive because my guard is always up. It was always up. It's down now, but it was always up. So anything anybody said to me that triggered my reaction to, oh, you trying to hurt me? Oh, you trying to make me feel bad? Oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. And it was always a you. I never took the time to stop and say, but why am I reacting to what you're saying like that? But why do I feel this way? And a lot of the times it's because I don't feel like I'm being heard. I feel like you're trying to make me what you want me to be or say or do. I felt like the world, my world of people, were not accepting me. Truth is, I wasn't accepting myself. I refused to accept my past. I refused to accept what I thought were my flaws. I refused to accept how I was feeling, my emotions. And everything was ran from up here. It wasn't ran from within. It wasn't fueled from the higher power. It was just, I was in my head. And I lived there for such a very long time because I had to make sense of the world. I had to make sense of people. And what I was saying to be true, what I was making sense out of it, it was saying, be defensive because the world is hard. Don't trust people because they will violate and betray you. Don't listen to what people tell you about yourself because they don't like you anyway. These are the thoughts in my head. I did not trust people. I put a post out there on Instagram almost a month ago that said, I don't trust people because I don't trust myself. That was the first time I can say I was honest with myself. I don't trust people because I didn't trust myself. And I didn't trust myself to make the proper decisions to choose the right people in my life because who I decided to allow myself to be around, I felt they were a letdown. They did not live up to my standard of expectation. Therefore, it left me disappointed, which then turned into anger because I was either sad or mad behind whatever it is that they did. So, y'all gotta do the work. Y'all gotta do the work. You have to start picking points of your life and you sit there and you reflect and you say, why do I feel that way? And I can acknowledge that it happened. And I'm going to accept this because I know it did not break me. This is something from my past. It's not now. It's something that happened. It's not now. It's something that I went through and overcame. It's not now. Now you're able to make a better decision and have new feelings to move forward. You have to start to sift through the emotional baggage of your past so you can shift out of that, so you can shift forward to something better. And trust me, there is something better. It's not something that you could be stuck in. I mean, you can. A lot of people, it's called depression. This is when you're stuck in the stuff that you feel like you can't change. But that's the fact of it. And what it is that you don't want to accept it. But the fact is fact, right? The facts is facts. You feel like you can't change what happened because you can't. It's already done. If people had a way to go back in time and change the way something happened, don't you think that we would have done it already? But you can't. You can't go back and change. So therefore, to make peace within yourself, you have to just sit in that moment because you never left it. Instead, you refuse to move on past it. Therefore, parts of you is still the age of whenever that trauma or bad thing happened to you that you can't get over. So you have to sit in that moment. And I'm going to use myself as an example because I realized that I just now got over it. Well, not this moment, but over the weekend on 9/11. I let go of so much stuff, y'all. And it was instantaneously because I was already building myself up to do it. I just didn't know. I didn't trust myself to let go. In order to let go, you have to be able to trust yourself. You have to be able to trust the higher power that you're going to be caught, that you can catch yourself. It's just like when you're in one of those trust circles and I practice that exercise. Oh, blindfold me, and I'm going to cross my arms and I'm going to fall backwards, knowing that somebody behind me will catch me. But it's hard for people to do that, even when it's somebody that they live with, even if it's somebody that they love, because you get scared because you don't trust yourself enough to trust other people. You get scared and you take a step back before falling, or you just decide not to fall. But when you trust yourself so that you can trust others, then there's no step back. It's just a straight fall back. You understand? And you get caught. It's just like my other video I talked about with my daughter is about, even though you're scared, know that there's something better. You understand? So I'm going to use myself as an example of how you acknowledge and then accept, using your know-how or your tools that you acquired in order to do the work. Work is working on yourself to move forward. Okay? Last video, y'all, remember I was talking about being raped and I kept zoning out and I kept getting stuck. I was getting stuck in my past. People have the ability to time travel, but it's in here because you have a record of everything that happened to you, all throughout your brain. You have a record of everything that happened to you, so you're able to travel back in time and relive something. You understand? You're able to jump forward in time if you want to, and this is how you can manifest stuff. I'm gonna get into that later. But when you jump back in time, you're remembering, right? So I was getting stuck during the time I was making a video about the rape. And I didn't know how to move past that. I didn't want to move past it because I was still angry, right? I wanted justice. I did. And I couldn't let go and let God at that point in time. Like the universe, the energy, God, your angels, like everything works together. And when you ask, and I asked during that video, in my mind, I'm like, I just want to let go of this. You will receive. So this is what I got, y'all. I was raped, and I didn't think that was fair. I mean, who does? But I was raped. I was raped. I got raped. I was violated. And I thought I lost something. I thought that this man, this person that I despised for a very long time, took something from me. And I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand why. So that's me acknowledging. I was able to say I was raped one time, maybe one sentence, and then 10, 12 sentences later I could say it again. But you seen, I acknowledged that's what happened to me. I was violated. I felt violated because somebody put their hands and other stuff on me without my permission. So it was intrusive and I felt violated. Now, this ties into I was always stolen from. Somebody was always taking something from me without my permission, right? This was going back into feeling alone, neglected, or abandoned as a child. And I didn't have no choice. I just had to accept that. Like, I never accepted it until now, but I never accepted it because I didn't think it was fair. So you see what this pattern is. I didn't think it was fair, so it's hard for me to move past that. Anyway, I got violated. I acknowledge that. Hard part is to accept it. How can you accept being sexually violated? It's hard to move past that. And the only way to move past that is when you accept it. It's the same way as if you lost someone in general, but even more traumatic, you lost someone because they was taken from you by a violent act of crime. How can you accept that? How can you sit in that moment when you found out that the one that you love will no longer be able to say hi and smile at you and say I love you anymore because of the hands of someone else? How is that fair? Why did it happen? Why them? Why me? So then you have to go into a different perception. Using myself as an example. This man who did this to me, I known to have done to other people. Well, I didn't really know. I was told. And I was convinced that he did it to other people, right? But the women who he have done it to before me were not brave enough to come forward and try to get him convicted, thus leading to another act of crime being committed. And I used to be so upset with my mom, and when she was like, we got to call the police or whatever. And the things I had to go through to try and get this guy in jail, and he just walked away. And I'm like, I did all of that for nothing? That goes into being more angry, right? What kind of man was this? I don't believe anymore that people are born evil. There's a such thing as nurture versus nature, right? So with human beings, in my opinion, it all starts out with being nurtured. And then it's the nature, your circumstances, the environment you live in. So that plays a part. How was he raised? What did he go through to make him feel that violating other people was an okay way? Because I believe he had issues. I do. I think that he had issues and he acted out based off those issues. I believe that he probably did not have a good upbringing as a child. He probably was molested himself. A lot of guys who are bullies or molesters or rapists, it happened to them. A lot of them. A lot of them. Just like a lot of serial killers, something happened to them to make them this way. It wasn't something that it was just born, they was born with it. It's not like that. It's a matter of circumstance combined with how they were raised. What was poured into this vessel? Because between birth to I guess the age 7 or whatever, the child is a sponge. It soaks up everything, and it's pretty much learning how to survive in this world thereafter. And if you or somebody was teaching their child through action, right, through action and through energy and through words, that it's okay to be angry, they're gonna grow up to not have control of their anger and think it's okay and people should accept it, even though it gets them in trouble, because they were programmed, and it's hard to unprogram that unless you have the right tools to do so. So tools meaning the know-how to reverse what was done to you or what you learned growing up. So I believe something must have happened to him, or he must have went through something as a child or as a young man, that he was rendered powerless. He felt powerless. Somebody took his power, and he didn't know how to deal with that. He probably didn't have anybody he can tell, or anybody who was able to help him work through that. To know that when wrong is done to you, it should be a course of punishment or action. You should feel safe. It's a process. You have to give a hurt person the stuff they need to heal so that they can learn how to heal on their own, especially when they're young. As an adult, you got to learn to do that on your own. But it never hurts to have help from someone. So I forgive him. I forgive him for violating me. And I forgive him for the actions that he has taken to get away with it. And I hope that he learns to forgive himself for everything that he's done, and he learned to forgive whoever violated him. Whether that be parents for not being there, or somebody actually physically and sexually violated him in the same way that he was doing these women. For those who think that they will always feel stuck and won't be able to move past their past, understand that you're trying to drag the past along with you into your present. Understand that you don't have to. It's your choice. Understand that if you can just sit in it for a moment and let the feelings of fear come and breathe through it and let it go. Anger, let it come and breathe through it and let it go. Sadness and sorrow, sit in it. Acknowledge it. Don't allow yourself to sit in it and stay there and then open your eyes and you're still here, but you have your past and your baggage with you. Sometimes you will not be able to get to say to the person who did you wrong what they did wrong to you. You will not be able to say, you have no power on me anymore. So you speak that out to the world, to God. You let go and you let God. You may not be able to look them in the face and they say to you, forgive me. You may not be able to get that. But understand that you won't need it. As long as you accept it, you own your moments and know that they're in the past and it's always going to be a part of you, but you are better for it because you're here now. You're not there when it happened. It was meant for you to be here now. It was meant for you to grow and blossom into the amazing person who you were always meant to be, and know that you have a purpose and you're going to fulfill that purpose. Know that you are not your past. You are not your past. There are a lot of different coping mechanisms, practices, excuse me. It's a lot of different coping practices, routines, and things like that that you can do to help you get to that point. As I continue to make videos, I will share those things with you. I can only share my experiences right now and what I do because, like I said, I just started my journey. I just embarked on this path. And as the universe give me what I need to help you guys, then I will give it to you. But for now, I can only just speak to those who need to hear it. Yeah. Acceptance is powerful. Accepting yourself, loving yourself, forgiving yourself through the grace of God or through the powers and energies of the universe. Like, learn to get to that point. And then everything else, it doesn't matter. It don't. It's just circumstantial. It's just things that happen. And you, you're happier. You know, I'm happy. Man, I'm happy. I'm happy not to be angry. It's like putting on a layer of clothing and then putting on a layer of sweaters and then putting on a layer of coats and then wrapping yourself up in a blanket and then you cover your head. These are the layers of life, of different things that you done went through, that you're putting on, and it's heavy and it's hot and it's uncomfortable and you're mad and you're like, what the fuck? Like, what in the world? I can curse, y'all. I'm grown. Leave me alone. But that's how you feel. You're like, yo, what is going on? So you start pulling off the layers and you're like, I don't need this. What am I covering myself up for? It's warm outside. It's not cold. It's not raining. I don't need this blanket over my head. Then you start to see the sun a little bit more and you're like, damn, it's hot out here. Take these coats off. And then you're like, whew, feel a little bit lighter. I can move around more. Feel good. A little refreshing. So then you can take off the sweaters. And then you're like, I'm free. This feels good. Then you can take off those extra layers of clothing and you can walk the way you're supposed to be walking in this world, which is comfortable. So with that, I'm going to end my video. I pray and I send out all my positive energies to you guys so that y'all can get to a point that you can breathe. Remember what I said, breathe through your nose. Hold it and let it out. Now that's what I call good breathing. Exhale. Like before I couldn't do that. It was hurting my chest. I'm like, can't get to breathe. I can't get the breath in my lungs. It's restricted. But yeah. Um, to all my kings and my queens out there, peace and blessings. Continue to find your faith. Continue to walk your path, walk your journey, and know that as you change your mind and your spirit and your body, your frequency changes. And that's going to disrupt the patterns and the habits of other people around you who was pretty much running off of that energy. So you're going to make some people uncomfortable. You're going to make some people upset. But when people are ready to change, that positive stuff is contagious. So as you elevate, you may see other people elevating with you. And then the ones who are not able to elevate, you're going to see that they're going to have to fall back. You're going to be moving on. They're going to be right where they are. And don't be mad at that. Don't be sad. Things happen for a reason. When people are ready, they will be able to move on just like you. Can't change nobody. You could just only be a good influence. Okay? So, if nobody told you today, I love you and you matter like so much. You're a part of the world, a part of the universe. You are a part of me because I can feel you. And I know that you guys can feel me. And it's more than just a physical thing. It's spiritual. It's energy. You are worthy. You owe it to yourself to go out there and find what makes you happy. Identify who you are and what makes you happy on the inside. And if that does not reflect what's going on the outside, then it's okay to say, you know what? I think I've outgrown this situation. I think I've outgrown these people. And be brave enough to step up in it or step up out of it and enlighten yourself. You'd be surprised that you were sleeping before and now you're awake. Your eyes are open. Your soul and your spirit is open to receive, and you will start to manifest. I know I said I was going to talk about that later, but not this video. I'll make another one just for that. But trust in the process and trust in yourself.